Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another lovely episode of Mintplexity Podcast. I'm here always joined by my co-founder and collaborator for a multitude of projects, not just Mintplex, Mr. Timothy Karabat.
Swear to God.
Yeah. Hey, dude, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it in the Timothy Karabat voice. So
that's fine. Go ahead.
You're going to like it. But anyways, yeah, so another week, another whole slew of changes in the grander Web3 and crypto space. We could go on and talk about all the scams that happened this week, and that would be enough to fill.
That's its own podcast. That's literally its own podcast.
We could make one. It's called the Infinite Issues Regarding Crypto and Blockchain.
Maybe
sponsored by Mintplex.
Okay. It's sponsored by Mintplex, but certainly not started by Mintplex.
It's sponsored. It's not started. I mean, we're here to try and fix it. That's why we created Mintplex. No, I'm just kidding. That was not why we came. We tried to reduce some of it with Mintplex, but
we've definitely helped a lot. But yeah, I mean, God. There's so many. There's one thing going on that I think maybe people who maybe don't know about it that listen to this podcast should know about. And there is this one particular exploiter called Monkey Trainer. And they basically, so people that have used Mintplex, right? It's like a no-code way to launch an NFT project. Monkey Trainer is a smart contract that also someone sells as a service like they would do with a Mintplex or any other kind of service out there in Web3, where it is a DIY no-code platform to launch a phishing site. And so Monkey Trainer has just been going crazy on the space. And I think that contract alone, it seems like every day someone posts about, Monkey Trainer today stole 5 Bored Apes and 3 mutants and 60 ETH. And it's just crazy because it's literally it's a gun for hire, and people are paying for that is if there's an evil twin to Mintplex, it's probably Monkey Trainer.
Oh man, this is Monkey Drainer, right? Drainer.
Yeah, Monkey Drainer. Yeah, okay, Drainer.
Okay. Not trainer. We are Monkey Trainers. We call all of our Mintplex users monkeys. And
it's funny because we're monkeys too. So it's monkeys teaching monkeys the whole way down.
Exactly. Yeah, so but yeah, we are this not to be confused. It's Monkey Drainers.
Monkey Drainer, drain.
Exactly. Was that the same contract that was that it was actually hit a few of our contracts, I think, right? We had a few.
No. This was something totally different. This is not phishing in the sense of someone trying to get access to someone's private keys. They literally spin up a project for Utes, for example. They'll for people that don't know, they'll just make a fucking fake phishing site for Utes and just drain everybody's anybody who interacts with that site. They'll just do that. So always know what you're clicking on, people.
That's important.
Still a prevalent problem in Web3 because MetaMask won't merge my PR about the trusted domain allow list that I added sometime last year. They still won't merge it. So
maybe with their focus on mobile this upcoming year, they'll finally grow, the right brain cells to make the right decision, Maybe.
I don't know. Who would have thought that consumer protection is one thing that Web3 needs? Who would have thought?
Who also would have thought that Web 2 problems would be the problems Web 3 would have too?
Yeah, except this time you can't get your money back. Yeah.
Who would have thought that social engineering is the same practice regardless?
And it turns out it's easier. And it turns out it's easier when everyone's anon. Who would have thought?
Oh my gosh. We go on. Like I said, that's a whole other podcast in itself. Actually, now I know the name. It's called Monkeys Training Monkeys. That's our new podcast. That's us with our 1 or 2 brain cells teaching all of y'all what are the common scams in this space. That's a joke. We don't have time for that because that's going to take up way too much time. There's too many scams in this current market. But what we are going to be talking about is a few other things in the more important sense. We have done an enormous amount of changes, updates, upgrades to the stuff that we've been doing here at Mintplex. Tim, give them a little flavor maybe of what these are, and then we can dive into it in a bit more detail.
Yeah. So one of I guess the biggest things, which I mean, I'm sure we've hinted at this in previous podcasts, but our kind of move away, for example, when we got rid of the 5% model on the primary mint fee and stuff like that, all of this is kind of marching towards Mintplex being essentially a service, right? Like a paid traditional, what you would expect SaaS service where, you can launch with us and you can get the base product for free always. So you can get your art out there and start building your community. But we are slowly beginning to move towards SaaSifying all of the stuff that actually helps your project be successful, like the Mint site, analytics, Discord bots, Shopify plugin, all of this stuff. That is kind of more news, I guess, recently as where we've been moving towards that. So for example, our pro pricing right now, if you wanted to get Mintplex Pro, it is usually a 0.2 ETH flat fee. But for the month of November, because by December we'll be fully implemented with this new SaaS model, we've decided to just discount because the market is so down bad anyway. We might as well just offer it for a slight discount. And so now instead of paying 0.2 ETH per project, you can pay just 0.09. And that's a really damn good deal because that winds up being about $11 amortized over a year. And considering it's a one-time payment for life, I mean, that's a deal you really can't pass up. And we've already been seeing a lot of conversions. I'm sure you've been seeing the emails that we've been getting. But yeah, so that's been great. So if you don't know about that and you have a project, or maybe in the future, you're going to have a project, just create the project now and upgrade it to Pro so that at least you have the slot so that you can get in while the getting's good. Because after that, it'll all be monthly subscription stuff. So, and speaking of this subscription, the Flight Pass, the thing we started, I think, what was that in April?
April 27th, I think, was when we launched public.
Yeah. So Flight Pass, for anybody who doesn't know, it is a single NFT. You can buy more than one if you want, but you only need one. And basically, when you connect to Mintplex, you will get Pro by default forever for all your projects, and also other stuff that we wind up building in the future. Those people will also always have either priority access, or they'll be able to get discounts, or they might just be able to get it for free. It's pretty much early supporters of Mintplex. That's what the Flight Pass is. That mint is closing today, and the reason is it was a good run. It helped us bootstrap our revenue and really kind of gauge interest and get people who are actually interested in building onboarded very quickly. But that time has come where it's okay, all of the OG users, we're closing the doors. Anyone that got in, they can get in. Everybody else, sorry, you missed the window. So that mint is closing actually in 15 minutes from this current time. That's when I'm going to go turn it off. And once it's closed, it's closed. You can't buy them anymore. You will only be able to get them on secondary, and nobody's selling. I can tell you that much. So,
and that's intentional. We're trying to make sure that we don't eat our own words, because we're trying to also add utility to these NFTs that we created, because that's the point of dog fooding our own product. We are trying, and here's the thing, all of y'all who've been supporting us since the beginning, because I know a lot of you listen to our podcast, which is thank you. Thank you. It's nice that we're getting engagement from y'all, especially our early supporters. As our business continues to grow, we all know that recurring revenue is the only way for a business to continue to survive and
for us to sustain.
For us to sustain. And also, if we don't, then Tim and I literally cannot continue to make Mintplex grow and change and all that stuff. And we know that as the future continues to trudge forward, we have bills to pay.
And we have expectations to meet.
We have expectations to meet, exactly. And the one-time payment that everybody was focused on, nobody's trading our Flight Pass on the daily. There's no royalties that we're making off of these transactions. And so for us, it's in order for us to make our mission of getting all of these tools and the blockchain accessible to a lot of people possible, this is just in our best interest to do so. So thank you, all of you supporters. Yeah.
Yeah, and to move to a SaaS, and like, hey, that's the benefit of getting in when it's early. Everybody that was able to cop a flight pass while it was active, I mean, that's something you have for life. That's not only an indicator of you being there first for real, but also you get the benefit. I mean, we're one of the few actual SaaS utility NFTs in the space. I can't think of any other people that have a utility NFT besides something maybe like a pre-mint, right? But like there's
a few others now, but you'll always know that we were first. We'll always know that we,
or at least ours gives you the biggest bang for your buck. That's for sure.
That too. We actually have tangible value now. We know actually how much it costs us on the loss for the flight passes that we give out. So we're making it cheap for you. The lifetime value is enormous for these flight passes.
Of that recurring value, the recycle.mintplex.xyz, that whole kind of NFT project that we launched, essentially a ERC 721 that can be subscribable, is actually what we're going to be using for the subscription NFTs. So don't think if you're listening to this like, oh man, I don't really want to put in my credit card or anything like that. You don't have to. We're always going to be crypto native. You know that. I mean, look at the people you're talking to, right? So we don't have to worry about that. And actually, it would be really cool. And we've actually gotten some interest of people who want to use this for future collections because the royalty model is dead. I think we've seen that from Blur's recent trading. Most of that is royalty free. Magic Eden moving to no royalties. Looks Rare moving to no royalties. I mean, royalties are gone. They're gone. And I think they're gone for good. And so now creators need to find a more sustainable way of staying alive. And it shouldn't have to rely on you bleeding users every single day to collect a small royalty. You should just be able to do it with a subscribable NFT collection that you provide value to the holders on. It's very simple. And we're going to provide the architecture for that. It'll operate just like a collection that you have today, except it'll just be renewable. People will mint. They'll have an expiry date and they can pay to extend or, let it expire and somebody else can pick it up. And it's just like a constant feed, a constant loop of people that want to actually be in your community. And so we're going to add that into our own product. And that's how we're going to do our subscriptions. So it'll be affordable.
Yeah. And also, if you don't have the ETH or the dollars to pay for it, there's a reason we're moving to subscriptions. Because I know a lot of people wanted to use our Pro Tools or give our Pro Tools a try. And it's just a lot of our stuff was cost prohibitive initially. And that's also the bigger reason we're moving to subscriptions, because we now can charge a fraction of the price we were for a limited time. And y'all can finally see why Pro is actually pretty demanded highly. Like it's just
why it's called Pro.
And why it's called Pro.
Professional.
It's professional.
It's professional.
You want to become legit and you want to do some cool stuff for your community, offer them some cool things. Oh, be pro, be professional. And then, we'll see what other like tiers and stuff we come up with in the future. But this is a good first step for all of our budding NFT project starters to get the ball rolling.
Absolutely. So I'm excited for it because people will just be able to actually kind of like very, very, very easily without code provide major value to their NFT community. So that'll be interesting. We'll see how that winds up playing out. But
but it's okay, listeners. It's okay. Like, we might eat our own words, but at least you can add us. Go and clip this. Go and clip this, and if we eat our own words, just constantly remind us. But otherwise,
can't fault us for experimenting. Especially in this space.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And that being said, experimenting and all the other stuff. So like what else has been going on in the last 2 weeks, Tim, since we recorded the last podcast?
I mean, geez, like a lot. Mostly because, you were just up in SF for like a multitude of events, Berkeley Blockchain Accelerator, and also, what was it, the SF Blockchain Week, right? Yeah,
SF Blockchain Week stuff. I mean, it was, we had to do, so to everyone out there, before we did YC, we were in Berkeley Blockchain Accelerator. Just as a reminder, they were the ones, the OGs, and they had a demo day 6 months after. So what's that? So we got in and started doing stuff in May. 6 months later is November. There we go. So we literally we had a kickoff and everything. I think we got accepted in March. We had a kickoff late April. And then here we are doing this.
Shout out to BBX, honestly.
No, BBX is the OGs. Pinata is an alumni from BBX. I'm wearing
a Pinata shirt right now, actually.
Wow, dude, represent. Was that did Justin or Jonathan put you up to it, Tim? Is it
no, Kyle does not compensate me for repping Pinata.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say either that or Kyle too. I was like, are you sure about that? Give you a free shirt and it's like, make sure to wear it in the next Mintplexity podcast. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we had I had the demo day. So instead of Tim having to do all the pitches, I had to do the pitches. That was quite an experience in itself. And then, I had the rest of SF Blockchain Week to go and chat with a lot of random folks. And it was quite an experience. But
while you were gone, Instagram decided Polygon with their amazing BD team have once again raised the bar by integrating with Instagram, which I think is super interesting. I think it's interesting. There's obviously a lot of pros and cons to this. I think people have been I don't know. I feel like everyone just likes to hate on Meta for no reason. Or maybe, to them, they think it's a good reason, but I think this is a good move. I think it's a good move.
The thing is, when it comes to Meta and Instagram, everybody just likes to make fun of the Zuck, okay? The Zuck is an easy target, all right? The Zuck isn't painted a villain, and for a lot of good reasons and justifiable reasons. But the Zuck has his own aspirations. At least he's not trying to go to space. He just wants to live in the metaverse, okay? He changed his entire company's name to Meta because he's so obsessed with getting into the metaverse, all right? So, and that being said, NFTs, Web3, that just fits perfectly into this whole kind of wave of things, right? But more congratulations to Polygon, more so than Meta, because Meta can do whatever they want. At this rate,
they could build it themselves, honestly.
They've been teasing that too for a very long time. Like they had the digital collectible stuff. Like I got to post my flight pass like months ago. So they've been budding for this for quite some time. So it's definitely not a surprise that it happened, especially during this last week. We'll see. We'll see what else they come up with. There's definitely. So,
this is the beginning, definitely, for what they're doing, because there's no way that they're going to just like, especially with all of their initiatives in like metaverse and stuff like that, like this kind of like being able to like connect your wallet and then being able to post an NFT. And as you saw in the workflow that they published, they're like, you can just go and buy it with a credit card. Like they handle all of that, which also kind of makes you wonder who's doing their credit card handling. Is it like a Winter or a MoonPay or like a CrossMint? Like I don't know. Or they're probably doing it in house. Honestly, knowing them.
They have their own credit card infrastructure because of Marketplace.
That's true.
I could see them totally having enough liquidity to do it themselves. But wait, no, actually though, now that I say that, enough liquidity to do it themselves.
Yeah,
it depends. They also were trying to launch their own coin for saying, was it Libra?
Yeah, Libra coin. Yeah, but that project I think has been shut down now.
It's died a while ago. But I don't know.
That actually, well, also doesn't that make it subject to the Apple, what is it, the 30% or cut that Apple takes? Those sales would also be subject to that as well, right?
Yeah. Yes, I don't know. Interesting. I don't know. There's a lot of questions arising now. But regardless, lots of moves happening, and there's a lot of interesting ways that they can continue to expand, especially now with all the stuff going on with Twitter and then half of the tech force being laid off. There's definitely a lot of talent out there that is ready to work on these like really new initiatives in Web3. So
it is kind of odd though, because obviously like the sentiment in crypto is dramatically different than it was 4 or 5 months ago, right? That being said, though, it does seem to be kind of like, at least the stuff that I'm getting exposed to, which is likely just because of where I'm at on Twitter, but like people getting laid off are looking for opportunity in Web3, which is kind of interesting because that means that a lot of people who, I mean, like these people are, they're smart, like they're very highly competent people. I mean, they worked at these larger tech companies that they got laid off from. Like those people entering Web3, that's like, that's really cool. Like, I think we're going to start to see some really kind of interesting blossoming projects from some of these people who just are like, I got my, super cushy severance cut from Stripe. Unfortunately, they lost their job, but they are able to live. They might work on a side project while they're job hunting. And it seems that they might want to work in Web3 too. So I think we might see some really interesting stuff. But
gosh, that actually brings up something that I thought was interesting the last few days. So I've met a lot of people looking for co-founders. Like a lot of people who were like non-technical, who have like some ideas of things, or they were like former PMs, or they were, a lot of people I met were like asking like if I knew engineers or technical co-founders, or people who are already working on some sort of project but needed somebody else. So that was something I forgot to mention that I thought was super interesting, that there's a lot of people entering the Web3 space that are hungry and looking for technical folks to start some new endeavors with, because tools like ours already make a lot of the blockchain at a base level accessible.
Right.
Like a tech stack, a typical tech stack to utilize the blockchain in its most like cost saving measures doesn't require any touching of the blockchain. You literally can build our entire app with just simply using like React,
the tools that are out there. Yeah.
Simple
like
hashes API. Exactly. And then Web3.js and Alchemy too.
Yeah.
So there's definitely something interesting. There's like a lot of the tooling that made it insanely hard initially is starting to get developed as we speak.
Oh, I can say that as a developer, compared to a year and a half ago, the tools that are available for you to just do X, Y, Z, whatever it is that you might be trying to do, whether that's like, airdropping a token or minting an ERC20, it doesn't matter. Or connect with wallet. Yeah. God, that was such a problem for the longest time. It was like my Ether wallet for a minute, and then MetaMask came around, made it a little bit simpler. And now you've got like open source tools like wagme.sh or like Rainbow Kit has a pretty good solution as well. There's so much more out there. I think even if any of these engineers or any of these, obviously I'm speaking about the technical talent because that's just what I'm more familiar with. They might just, even if they just accidentally foray into building a Web3 project, it will be so much easier for someone of their skill set to just pick this up instantly. That's why I'm thinking there's going to be like an offshoot of just like really interesting projects that just pop up simply because someone was like, oh yeah, I had an idea. And like the tools were like, it was already so simple. So they just plugged them together and now everything's glue, And so, we'll see. I don't know. Who knows what the market might demand? I mean, these people probably also are more pressed to find a job than a side project, but who knows?
Dude, I mean, the war chest that some of these people have accumulated, right? Like you and I, we did not have as big of a war chest, or at least me. I was down on my last 3K when we decided to do Mintplex full time. But like a lot of these folks have accumulated and also have known that their jobs were on the line for the last 6 to 7 months. True. So I would be hard pressed to not see more of these folks actually ready to make some really awesome stuff happen. Also, like we just talked to, for example, Lit Protocols, one of the guys today, and they just released some really crazy shit. So like stuff that we didn't even know that they released. So a lot of these really smart teams are building a lot of really cool stuff that just makes building applications, makes building just things in general on the blockchain so much easier.
It's so much easier. Like, gosh, yeah. Actually, I think earlier this week, talking about tools, it was like a crypto link in bio startup. I think I sent you the email about. I sent you an email about it.
Oh yeah. Oh my god!
And it's like it's so funny because like that is something I built like forever ago. Like even pre Mintplex, pre like me doing smart contracts. It was a long time ago.
That was 4 months before you were No, because remember, you were doing projects every 3 months. This was 3 or 4 months before you launched Mintplex publicly.
Yeah.
Because I remember talking about it. Yeah.
It's so funny because the link in bio thing, it's just, yeah. And now you've got there's 40,000 crypto link in bio companies now. And at the end, and even when I built mine, I was like, okay, this is cool. But it is definitely who the hell is going to use this? But 141 people have an account on BlockLink. I just checked the other day.
141. Dude, should we start pumping that? Should we start pumping and promoting that too on Mintplex?
Oh my God. Honestly, we could just make them an account, just make every project that comes through, just make it an account. And then it's just oh, look, all your projects are already there. We could shill our own stuff. It's incredible.
Why not? That way you don't need to maintain it separately. Honestly,
can we go on Twitter and just be oh yeah, we acquired a company today, BlockLink, and then we're gonna be what the hell? Yeah, we acquired it. It was $1.
And it was just you, Tim, merging code bases.
That's all I did. Beautiful acquisition.
It was a perfect merger.
My very first exit, I sold to my own company. Yeah, I'm like Adam Newman, I can sell my own assets to my own company and make a profit. It's really, this is really GigaBrain kind of strategy right here, guys.
Exactly. I don't know. I think I see a pretty clear, a clear connection here. So
obviously, yeah, no, this is
This is us skipping 10 years ahead too. Everyone and their moms has a Beacon AI's clone, basically.
Yeah.
Beacon's AI. Was it Linktree? Who else? Everybody's doing some sort of link in bio.
So many. I think the hardest problem to solve with that entire kind of vertical is how do you get people to migrate from Linktree to whatever it is that you do when the opposite is just easy to copy. What you have a unique advantage. Okay, Linktree just copies it. People just get to keep their link in bio. Linktree is supporting, or they had news that they support crypto stuff. So NFTs and wallets and stuff like that.
They support NFTs now. I think the crypto stuff though, not yet. Because also I don't know how much you want to share your wallet balance on your link in bio. Hey guys, look at me. I have 600 ETH. It's are you sure? Are you sure you want to show all that? I don't think I want to.
I mean, for me, it was just that's my wallet. You can click a button and pay me. That's all they did. That's all it did. But I guess, you could just as easily click on the freaking wallet and just be how much money does this guy have? And, who cares? I don't know. I don't even know if anybody even uses it. Actually, okay, when I was responding to the comment about that product, I looked to see, because I couldn't find my own tweet about when I announced BlockLink for the product hunt launch forever ago. I think I got 12 votes. I worked at product hunt at the time. I only got 12 votes. That's pitiful as that. Someone, I don't know who this person is. They post consistently their BlockLink profile. So there is at least one person out there. Shout out to, I think it was Antonio. I think that was their name. Shout out to Antonio, my one loyal BlockLink user.
This is a story. This is a story of inspiration, because you can launch anything and you still will end up having
one user.
Some loyal user.
You get one user. Speaking of actually. This just happened. Big news that happened last week. We have eclipsed, because we weren't paying attention. We have eclipsed 1,000 projects, 1,000 mainnet deployments. And I went through and counted how many NFTs have been minted. And I think it was okay, so the number is actually 4 million. But that's because someone out there, and I don't know who it was. Well, I do know who it was. There's one or two projects that have literally on Polygon, bulk minted themselves 3 million NFTs, which does count as technically creating an NFT. But I don't think that that's genuine, because that was an airdrop. So I did not count them in the count. So it's more around 2 million ish. But the money that we've generated for people, if you include primary and secondary, it's $8 million.
It's crazy.
It's insane. And we did not make $8 million.
Wait, but assets under management, right?
Yeah, actually, if you want to talk, right? So okay, I'm sure we have some VCs that listen to this podcast, and maybe but okay, can someone help me understand why GMV is a metric. So like for people out there who maybe don't understand these acronyms that people just throw around randomly, basically like GMV is like if you have a DeFi protocol, like how much money is like moved across it, right? If you sell NFTs, how much money was generated from that? It's like almost like GDP for your own product is the way I understand it. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that
So,
like a
so
pretty good way
GMV
of saying
stands
it?
for gross merchandise value.
Okay, there you go.
So
Okay,
basically,
just Google that?
yeah. No, because I was trying to make sure, because I knew G stand for gross, which is why it's gross. All puns intended. But I was trying to figure out what M stands for. I forgot what M stood for. But yeah, basically though, merchandise is essentially like in this space, it's just whatever amount of value is getting moved around. So like we can claim $8 million like GMV or something, or actually
in less than
more.
a year.
Actually, even more. We could say even more based on our other contract types. So like, that's the thing.
True. I was only counting 721. That doesn't include ERC20 or ERC 1155.
Which 1155, we still have a decent amount of people who use that stuff. But that's the thing, is like GMV, like why? Like, okay, yes, people are using it and transacting, but it doesn't actually make us a better business.
No,
you know,
I mean, I guess it shows people using your product. So maybe in lieu of revenue, that's maybe the metric. I just personally, like, I think, real numbers are more important. So I don't know. That's just me. But
help Tim understand, any of the VCs out there.
Help me understand. I know I should maybe better understand it, but like, sorry, I just like to deal with like real numbers that mean things.
Yeah, so I don't try to help me understand. I don't want to understand. I don't want to understand. I honestly I wouldn't use it even if it were like a Coinbase and stuff and like GMV. I don't know. I just think it's just such an e-commerce thing to talk about gross merchandise value.
Makes sense.
Because it makes sense from a supply chain to understand how much money is in value is getting moved around and how much like, volume and how much like value gets extracted. But I don't know. For me, if I'm running like a company, I don't think that's like the best North Star metric.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I don't know.
But if you're an exchange, it makes sense though. If you're an exchange.
Yeah,
I'm going to argue. Yes, it makes sense. It makes sense. But just like some people, there's some founders, some companies that we're aware of that like they obsessed over AUM and GMV. And it's just like,
that has nothing to do with your business.
Probably not going to help you that much.
Yeah.
It's not going in your pockets.
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. Honestly, the thing that does matter though, is that there's now definitely way more than 1,000, mainnet projects that are repping Mintplex tech using our platform. And and then that other tweet I sent you, 3 of the projects that are top optimism projects right now, traded by volume or by floor price. 3 of the 10 were launched with Mintplex. So yeah, we were just there for optimism since day one. I mean, that was like one of the first actual, that was the 3rd chain we adopted.
Yeah. I mean, once again, it's all about the long tail value for everybody. It's all about the long tail. See, we don't do GMV here. Once again, I could be eating my words. Tim and I are, we're definitely not future proofing some of our statements on this podcast, which is great because we're trying to date ourselves. We're trying to make sure that we're cancelable in the near future, in the far future, actually. but like, for us, long tail value is the most important, and like customer lifetime value in that sense is more important, especially when we're trying to build something that's supposed to have like long-term sustainable value. Yeah.
And also just like for customers when they come to us and they're just like, oh yeah, like I launched a project with y'all, raised my community, nurtured my community, however they did that, right? And then they used us to launch, and then they went and made a significant amount of money for them, depending on whatever their situation is. And like them just being able to just be like, I don't know, like being able to provide that for people, artists, musicians, creators, just people who want to experiment with Web3. I mean, that's really validating in itself, but that's not a metric that you can really quantify.
Yeah. So it's fine.
Yeah. It's just nice to hear.
Sentimental value, sentiment value,
If you want to tell us good job, please do, because nobody else does. So.
I'll tell you. Good job, Tim. Good job, Tim. Nice try. Nice try.
Good try. GG. Yeah.
GG's. Speaking of GG's, to kind of move back in that direction of talking about the conferences I went this week. A couple of really interesting kind of high level insights I got from going to this conference. So it wasn't not worth it. All right. I had to demo Mintplex and I made a fool of myself wearing my bucket hat. Actually not a fool. That's my aesthetic now. So it's too late. Can't stop it. But a couple of high level things I found interesting was, one, there is a lot of research right now going on about wallets, how to make things more secure, how to effectively utilize zero knowledge, proofs and mechanisms, et cetera, which means there's a lot of interest right now, I think, in trying to make blockchain more trustworthy. Because I think we're getting to the point where, Tim constantly says that DeFi is a failed experiment. But hey, every experiment needs failure in order to improve. I will say that DeFi is a totally and utterly foolish endeavor. But
people are going to get so pissed.
No, I'm just messing. But once again, right, is like the intention of DeFi is now, I think, actually reaching the people that it needs to reach. There's a lot of the LATAM, the bankless folks, they're the PMF for DeFi. It's not your speculative traders in their freaking basements in Minnesota or something. Like, it's your business owner in Venezuela that needs a more stable currency to go and engage with their local economy.
Yeah.
That's where DeFi is actually a success. Remember, experiments work under certain conditions, and these folks we don't know what variables those are, but they're the variables that this actually works really, really well. Some say it's the fact that, the government has a lot less, control over the currency, or has more to do with just like not having strong financial institutions, right? But either way, at least here in the US and in the EU, DeFi is not freaking working, and you're only going to get scammed if you don't know what you're doing. Because there's way too much value extraction. Literally. Look, every single day, there's a new liquidity pool that just got drained.
What was it like yesterday or today? Was it Gala? Gala, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So at me 10 years in the future, DeFi in its current state is a foolish endeavor, an experiment. But once again, it's an experiment, and we need fools like ourselves. We're monkeys. We also need to experiment and test and fail to improve things. Failure is a good thing. Like, I think a lot of people
lessons learned.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like when you say things are a failure, it's like bad. It's like, no, like we know why shit isn't working now, so we improve on it. We realize
kind of like how the royalty idea for NFTs fell apart, right? And how staking is probably very soon going to be illegal in the US for staking NFTs that have a ERC that's backed with a liquidity pool. Like, that's probably going to be illegal probably sometime next year. These are all lessons
failed experiments. These are all failed experiments once again, and that's not a bad thing. We create so many failed experiments at Mintplex. Like our new name, like wouldn't have been Ramp. It would have been like Off Ramp. Because if we didn't get funding, we would have changed our name to Off Ramp instead of Mintplex. But thankfully,
or just called Exit,
or just Exit Ramp. It'd just be Exit. No, Exit. It would literally be the Exit Ramp. But yeah, we experiment all the time, and a lot of our stuff just doesn't get picked up. And that's the thing. I think we really need to get comfortable, especially as I've seen in these conferences. We got to get really comfortable with failed experiments, just also constantly failing.
Also, and that goes for pretty much any project in the space, whether you're building a community or whether you're building a platform or a service. Like, PMF in Web3 right now just frankly does not exist. Because you see large DeFi protocols, like they're very popular right now, but then it cools off in 3 months or 4 months, and then that's it. It just kind of like falls apart, or maybe the dominoes fall and then it just like, the liquidity pool gets drained by some hacker or some shit. Right. The market right now for Web3 is very, very small, but the power in Web3 is, I think it's very, I don't even know how to say it properly. There's so much potential in Web3 that you can use this potential to find PMF in what should be the global market, because that Web3 is decentralized. That's a global market. But like, why is it that PMF is like 300,000 people, 500,000 people? It's because Web3 is right now not accessible enough. Mm-hmm. But like, no company in Web3 has PMF. If they said that, I think they're lying. Like Coinbase, I guess you could say PMF, but like, that's not Web3. That's just like cryptocurrencies in general. That's just like coins, like that's a centralized exchange. Like, I think that's a different business, that's not Web3. It's just
Robinhood, but with cryptocurrencies.
Yeah. But like think of something like a Curve Finance or even something like OpenSea, right? Like, how does PMF look when you lose 90% of your volume in a month, right? Is that what PMF looks like? I don't know, right? Who am I to say? But I can say that I can't look at any Web3 company in this space, even some of the bigger players like an Infura or an Alchemy. That's still like, yes, they have a big business, and yes, they have a lot of funding, and yes, they're doing a lot of things. But like, is that PMF? The market's still small,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we need to branch beyond this kind of Web3 market. And the only way to do that is to abstract away a lot of the Web3 complexity and just give people all the benefits with none of the complexity. That product will find PMF. And that's some of the experiments that we're building, because that is actually how you wind up building a, multi-million-dollar business based on Web3 tech.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, once again, right, is like, and that's the common kind of consensus I got when I was at these conferences, is very much like, Tim's not the only one saying DeFi is a failed experiment. All right. I'm just messing with you at this point, Tim. But I like
do
a lot
think it. I honestly do think it. So it's like,
yeah, I mean,
need to be coy about it.
I know, I'm just messing with you. I'm putting it on the podcast. It's now forever here. No, but like, I feel like a lot of folks agree that there's way too much vulnerabilities. And a lot of people who are obsessed with like, oh yeah, it's going to get all this mass adoption. Oh yeah, DeFi, it's just a matter of time. It's like, no, it's not just a matter of time. It's a matter of trying. Like, there's a lot of things we need to try and fail in order to get to that state of mass adoption. And heck, even when you get to mass adoption, there's still a shit ton of things that are wrong with even our current systems. Like, and so it's like, it's really important. It's really important. I think that's one thing I want to hammer as like a takeaway from this week. Like, try and fail a lot, because the cool thing is there's a lot of people who are banking on this new system, because this system fixes a lot of things in our previous system. So people are willing to invest that money in your failures, because that lets you advance to the next stage of whatever that is, whatever that looks like, right? And even for us, Launchpad is technically a failure. I'm going to say it right now. Launchpad is technically a failure. Why? Because the entire fucking space has moved to 0% fees. This is no longer a fucking business. You literally cannot run Mintplex as a Launchpad anymore as a business. Why?
You can't run any Launchpad as a business. Full stop.
Full stop. Because everything has come crashing down, and like the value add is missing. Like, a lot of these businesses, or a lot of brands, a lot of creators putting in for these NFTs, they're the ones that are forced to add the value, right? But like, if it already costs money to deploy stuff, and then we add another fee on top of that, and ownership of their NFT as well.
5% of their
It's enough to deter a lot of these people away now. It's actually enough to deter. It's a very small market.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good lifestyle business in building a Launchpad or owning an agency that launches NFTs for big businesses or creators or whatever. There's a lifestyle business there, but there is not a $100 million business, which is really what we're trying to build. And so like, that is going to come in the form of something that is Web3, but the consumer doesn't know that, or the consumer is maybe not acutely aware of like having to connect a wallet and all the other pitfalls that come with that. It won't look like that. That's not what PMF will look like for a Web3 product. I'm adamant. It'll look like a video game. Honestly, probably one of the first ones will look like a video game. Which
feeds into my second high level point of this week, which was, wow, these VCs, like a lot of the crypto native VCs, have completely changed their tune. Not even just the crypto native VCs, but like the gaming VCs in the space have all just doubled down on crypto gaming, on Web3 gaming. So this week, MetaMask just announced their partnership with Game 7 to launch Hyperlayer, which is a Web3 game deployment or game launcher. So it's like Steam, but for your Web3 games, which is huge. There is
especially since Steam won't host decentralized games.
Oh yeah, they won't. They don't want that. But that's huge. That's huge for the space because one, it's extremely hard to find any of these types of games anywhere. Like you just have to find it through the grapevine of Twitter, or you get recommended to it by one of your friends who's all around the Web3 gaming space. So this is huge. And the money behind it is also not small. I attended a panel at the Gamer conference or forum. It's really a forum on Wednesday. And they're putting down $2 billion. It's a $2 billion bet. $2 billion and that's just the game studios alone. I don't even know how much the crypto funds are putting in. From the game studios alone, a $2 billion bet that these Web3 game studios, or just game studios in general, will crack the code to creating a really holistic and amazing experience that leverages blockchain.
And it's going to look like a video game, not a Web3 experience. That's the key point. That's the key point. It'll look like it's a game. Play to earn, yada, yada, yada. All that stuff is... it's super inflationary. So it doesn't last forever. Like Step In, I think, was a very popular example of that, like the walk to earn kind of stuff. X to earn. Games should be just fun to play. And then if you happen to be introduced to crypto, any kind of crypto kind of asset, whether it be an NFT or an ERC20 or whatever, that should just be a happy circumstance of how the game is architected, not the only reason to play the game. And I think that narrative has gotten messed up on a lot of crypto games where it's like it's Web3 first, then a video game. That's to the end user. That shouldn't matter. It should be a fun to play game that involves Web3 elements.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is that at that conference, which was the inaugural Gamer Forum, so I'm expecting this to become a big thing going forward every year. I met some really cool people there too. Like 10 out of 10 would go. That was the one. I mean, CSCC was great too, but like I really like Gamer Forum over the Zero Expo I went to yesterday. But definitely just really, really amazing to see a lot of these new studios coming out. And actually a lot of these studios that started doing Web3 gaming stuff like 2-3 years ago, finally kind of like you're starting to see like their games actually coming out in full, in full force. Because it does take a really long time to build a game. It takes it's
also not easy.
Yeah, at the minimum, it'll take 2 years. And then out of the maximum, like recently, this game called Marvel Snap, which has been hitting the App Store recently, and everybody's going nuts about it. That took 10 years to make. 10 years.
That's kind of crazy. That's absolutely insane.
So that's the thing, is like Web3 gaming, specifically the gaming space and blockchain, they're ahead of the curve by a lot. Like they've been in it. Axie Infinity's been in it for years, and yet it's still slow. Like, so there's a lot of work. There's still a lot of greenfield opportunity. Like, take this podcast as like a signal to, if you had any hesitancy about jumping in due to like how early or how much you don't know or do know. Oh, there is so much space here, guys. There's so much greenfield space.
There's greenfield all over Web3. That's what makes Web3 exciting as a builder. There is so much opportunity. There's so much greenfield. You cannot go wrong by experimenting. You cannot.
Yes. So come, like, experiment and fail with us. This will be fun. Okay. But that is like the two big, like, overarching macro themes I got from this week. Once again, experiment, fail, all that shit. Like, everybody, there's still a lot of room to keep growing, and there's gaming space is being doubled down on. And so if you had any reason to start playing video games, this is probably not the right message to give to people, but the gaming is basically the future of all entertainment, and I think blockchain has a huge part in that as well. So but anything else, Tim, we haven't covered? I feel like we do have a lot. We covered a lot, but is there anything else that we haven't covered yet?
I don't think so. Not anything that I guess is, worthwhile mentioning right now. There's a lot of other things, other little tools, what the future of Mintplex is building in the works, but nothing that's really discussable besides what we've already discussed.
I just want to throw some more shade at Solana. What's it? The Hetzer shutdown.
Oh, yeah. The cloud service provider. Yeah. It's funny because apparently people were saying that their service for people who aren't aware, there is a cloud provider, something like an AWS or a Google Cloud platform, where basically you could spin up a Solana node. And the reason that that's important is because running a Solana node is quite high technical requirements. Like pretty much you need something as close to bare metal as possible when it comes to computing. So you don't want a lot of like cloud computing, like hypervisor, like virtual machine kind of stuff going on. You want to be as close to actually just running directly on the I can't think of the rack,
the rig.
Yeah, as you can. And so a provider called Herzog or something like that, basically it turns out, much like it is the story with Ethereum or any other provider, they were running a massive amount of Solana nodes because it wasn't too expensive. They did run kind of slowly, though. That's kind of the story, is that they were running slowly. Out of nowhere, they said, hey, we know you all have been running Solana nodes for quite a while now, over a year, definitely. They were like, hey, suddenly it's against the rules to run a miner or a validator, in this case, on our stack. So, we're going to shut it down. And so they shut down a whole bunch of Solana validators. But an interesting detail is those validators, because they were potato quality, actually increased the overall speed of Solana, because Solana is as fast as its slowest validator. And so I thought that was kind of an interesting side effect, but is also kind of weird that you can't just hop onto AWS or hop on a Google Cloud easily and make a cost effective Solana validator. I think that could be a problem in the future because you used to be able to run a ETH validator. Well, now it's proof of stake, so you could, but you'd need 35 ETH or 32 ETH, whatever. 32 ETH. Yeah. You used to be able to run a ETH miner on a Raspberry Pi in your house. You could do it. It would be slow as hell. You would not make any money, but you could run a ETH node in your house on a Raspberry Pi. You could do it. You could not do that with a Solana node. I don't think you could do that. I don't think anyone has that kind of computer in their house. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting, but it is a problem though, obviously, for Solana. If their cloud providers, some of their major cloud providers are just hey, LOL.
It's 40% of it too, which was nutty.
I think right now is Solana Breakpoint in Lisbon, right? So it's actually also was very, very evilly timed because everyone is too busy at the conference. And then their validator gets shut down. They're like, what the, come on, don't do it while I'm on vacation. I thought that was kind of rude of them to do, but whatever.
I don't know. Maybe they're just not Solana maxis or something, I think
what happened is they were like, dude, why is our freaking electricity bill so high? Or they're like, why are we paying so much money to keep these things online? And then they figured out the majority of their, comp time is going to these Solana validators, and they were probably like, okay, we got to get rid of that. And so they should have
just raised prices or something. They'd been like, hey,
honestly, I feel like if you made a pricing tier for that probably actually could have been an interesting, and that actually could be a business out there. Kind of like how people do cloud hosting reselling. You could do the same thing with hosting validator nodes. I think that could be pretty interesting. There's a whole booming business in selling pretty much AWS instances to run dedicated servers for video games. You could pretty much do the same thing for people with validator nodes for various networks. I don't know. Maybe that's a business. Someone go do that. I don't want to do that. So.
Yeah, someone go do that so we don't have to. And it would help everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think there's anything else then to discuss. By the way, by the time of this recording, Flight Pass will already be shut down.
I gotta close it right now. I'll do it right now.
30 minutes late? Oh no.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, it's time stamped at 5:30 over here. Definitely not the fastest thing we've done.
I am going and I am closing it now.
Amazing. But with that, I will close out this episode with a couple closing remarks, and then we will see y'all soon. But yeah, as always, test on testnet, please. Jorrel gas has been freaking insane, so test on Mumbai instead. I've been doing majority of my testing and smart contract stuff on Mumbai and Polygon recently, just because of gas prices.
It's been insane. It's been insane.
Yeah, there was that one tweet from Albert from Alchemy who was like, "Hey guys, can we fix this?" And I wanted to retweet that 100 times because, oh my gosh, Jorrel ETH, so freaking hard to acquire now too. Not is it only expensive in gas, but it is so freaking hard to get Jorrel ETH. Oh my god, so
hard. I don't know why. Hard.
So
anyway, Flight Pass Mint is closed. It's closed forever now.
There you go. Well, closed forever, timestamped here. But also, like I said, test on testnet, but also, hey, help us figure out why Jorrel ETH is absolutely demolishing the network right now. So test on Mumbai instead. And with that, thank you all so much. Follow us on all of our relevant socials. And we'll, I don't know, anything else, Tim?
Nope, that's it.
Alrighty. Well, then we will see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Peace.